this is gonna be one of the few times where I seen the movie first before even looking at the anime or looking at the manga that the movie was based on. So I'm pretty much gonna just tell you like what my thoughts are and how this movie goes as a person who never seen the original content for the movie. So this is my review for 2019's Alita Battle Angel, and does it still hold up in the year 2021? Find out today on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up world, welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Zakka. What's up world, welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Zakka. What's Movie Breakdowns? A movie review series where I look at new and old movies, give them a grade, A through plus and minus through count. And there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also, if you like this series, you like this content, please like, please subscribe, please comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for the support and love. Thank you so much. And I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Zakka, which for $2 a month, you get to jump in front of everybody and request me to watch anything you want me to watch, as long as it's not super like X-rated or like a movie that's a college-made movie. I'm pretty much gonna review it. So that's how you get on there, like, get ahead of everybody, get the stuff out before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. Plus, you get trade reaction, fair review, much more content. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's review of 2019's Alita Battle Angel. And I do want to mention that this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen Alita's Battle Angel, please go watch the movie and come back. What this movie about? This movie is about a cyborg girl who gets found in the trash, gets rebuilt, and trying to remember who she is. And events happen that sparks her memory, and she finds herself in a life or death situation by the end of the movie. That is Alita Battle Angel, or my perspective of the movie per se. You can go look at the comment sections and the actual stuff. For example, IMDb goes, a deactivated cyborg revived but can't remember anything of her past and goes to quest to find out who she is. That is Alita Battle Angel from IMDb perspective and my perspective. So, first thoughts on this movie. It looks amazing. This movie looks so good. Like, the CGI, the animation, the mixture of real life and CGI intermingled with each other, it looks really good. It reminds me of iRobot from 2004. Like one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite Will Smith movies, iRobot and Alita Battle Angel actually look similar to each other. Like, that's not a bad idea. I'm glad that iRobot tried it first 2004 and Alita Battle Angel kind of just built on that from 2004 and 2019. It looks a really beautiful movie, and there's certain spots of the movie where I watch, I'm just like, I kind of just wish I had this all in CGI, because there's also times where Alita was standing next to, for example, Hugo, who is played by Keenan Johnson. Hugo, when she's standing next to Hugo, it sometimes look off though, like she just looks out of place sometimes with certain people. And even though certain characters are having robotic arms or robotic limbs, like those characters with the robotic arms and limbs look really good CGI wise. And then Alita sometimes stands out from them. But I think it still looks really good. Like, I think it's still a very beautifully visioned movie. I think it's really good. Also, another thing I like is the world building. They actually show you what the world you're in. You know what's going on. You know the city in the sky. You know the city on the ground. Like, it's really fleshed out as far as the world around it. So you know what kind of world you're living in, what kind of lifestyle these characters go through. That's another thing I really enjoy. And the acting. I think the acting in this movie is solid. I think everybody does a great job acting and giving 110%. And I don't feel like anybody's phoning it in. You know, some characters don't really have much lines or just kind of there as mouthpieces. I think it's done really well. And then the things I didn't like this movie, because I didn't see the original source material, I could tell that this movie is cramming a lot of stuff into the movie, into the time frame. This movie is let's see here, the time frame of the movie is 2 hours and 2 minutes long, which once again, y'all know, I feel like that's after watching my Star Trek reviews, I feel like a 2-hour movie is solid. That's a good time frame. And this movie was trying to put so many different storylines into one that they should have just did 1 or 2 and then save the next one for the sequel. Like, I feel like Alita Battle Angel was trying to set a 3-part movie, or at least another movie for people to watch, versus let's just focus on 1 or 2 things, and then if the crowd really loves it and really enjoy it, then we can add a sequel. But this movie tried to put so much into it within the first 2 hours. Like, matter of fact, the first hour of the movie is all set up in exposition, know what the world you're in, and then the second hour you get about, because at the 2 hours and 10 minutes, or 1 hour and 10 minutes, she finds her suit, her new suit. And then from there, you get this bar scene, a fight for about 40 minutes. And then you get a quick resolution, a quick conclusion to everything within 15-minute time frame. You're like, whoa, what just happened here? And I think the movie should have took some things out. There was a part where they could have left it off at the end of the movie, and they didn't, because they wanted to cram more in. And I think that hurt the movie a lot. Matter of fact, a lot. Not just a little, a lot. This movie would have done fine if you had Alita and Christopher Waltz's character, who's the doctor, where they were trying to focus on this father-daughter dynamic, and she's slowly gaining her memory as she is trying to help the doctor stop a serial killer from stealing people's body parts. I think the movie was based off that part of it alone, and then you introduce the boyfriend character, and that storyline grows a little more, and the jealous friend, or the friend who doesn't like Alita. Like, if you had the main storyline, the father and daughter dynamic, introduce the boyfriend, he's there to kind of help the father and daughter situation, the tension to it, either add to it or don't add to it, and have the serial killer scenario, have that be the first, movie act, and then you can introduce the boyfriend working with the bad guy, and he's also helping stealing body parts, because that's what he does. And then you could add in the bounty hunters and the bounty hunter crew, and base get deep with characters like the dog hunter who uses mechanical dogs, versus one scene where the dude just pops up and goes, he's not a dog guy, so I had to take him out. Like, what? And there are certain parts of the movie where if you're a fan of anime, you will see immediately the anime protagonist talk. We gotta stand up against the bad guy. I'm a hunter now too. And if I beat all y'all join me. Alright? We got this, capiche? If I kick y'all butt, y'all join me. Now, let's go, you wannabe motorball athletes. Like, that scene, even though it was a cool scene, it didn't need to be in the movie. I think the bar fight scene and her interacting with the bounty hunters, and the bounty hunters turning against her because they're gonna get money on her, and the motorball stuff, I feel like it could have been added to the sequel, and then we get more into the main villain, the big bad, the big boss, who is Zola, I believe his name was, because he was controller of Vector. Like, then we can get into that. But unfortunately, this movie wanted to cram so much stuff in here that it really hurts it, and try to move it too fast. Like, the pacing to me of this movie seemed like it went and kept going, and then you had moments where you're just like, come on, really? I'm supposed to believe that Hugo and Alita are a strong couple, a strong relationship, where she's like, I'm gonna give you my heart within 3 weeks or 4 weeks of meeting each other. Because matter of fact, what's his name, the doctor pulls Alita out of the trash, rebuilds her within a day or two, and then she meets Hugo like the next day. Super quick. Super quick. Versus, how about we slow it down so that way we can actually breathe a little and enjoy characters and flesh out characters, versus like Jennifer Connelly character just sitting there to be a character who we get. She dated Christopher Waltz's character, the doctor that was married, and now she's just kind of there. Don't really know whose side she's leaning on. She wants to help the good guys or don't want to help the good guys. Like the preacher, the book and the anime would flesh that out a lot more. But the movie, because it's trying to put so much into one movie, that it doesn't build on certain characters. And the same can be said by Hugo's best friend, who I don't even know the dude's name. I'm gonna talk about him when I get to characters and cast. But he was like, they keep talking to him, keep showing him like he's supposed to be this integral character in the movie, but for the most part he's a side character. And when Hugo confronts him, it feels like some big moment, but we don't care because we don't know who he is and we don't know the dude's name. And then when he dies, you'll be like, yeah, okay. And you know, scaring Zapan's character cuts him in half and blames Hugo for the death, and you're like, okay. Or, you know, Hugo's death at the end of the movie, which he's supposed to die. He's falling into a cloud from these exponential heights. It's an anime manga. The dude didn't get shot, killed in front of us. He's still alive. Like, he's gonna survive the fall. But anyway, like, his character, we really believe that he had this change of heart because he met Alita for 3 weeks when he was this whole time stealing body parts and being a bad guy. Like, they crammed so much together, they should have let it fleshed out a little more. Like, turn to different sequels. Like, I ain't making different sequels off of certain storylines and build on top of them. Like, I know where Robert Rodriguez, the director, and James Cameron, I see where they're going, and maybe the studio's like, hey, we need to make a sequel, so we need you guys to focus on putting all this stuff in this movie so we can get this sequel next movie. But it really, if they would have slowed it down, it would have meant a lot more for certain characters and character development in this movie. So that right there is one of the biggest problems for this movie. And storyline, I see where it's going with the storyline. I like the ideal of it, but it's moving way too fast for you to really sit and feel into it. Now, I would say this because there's a moment in the movie I was watching, I was like, it'd be neat. It would be really neat if this was a TV series where we can flesh stuff out more, let stuff build and breathe. But the problem is, if we did a TV series, the cinematography and the fight scenes and animation wouldn't be as clean and crisp as they are in this movie, because this movie animation fight scenes are really good, really over top, brings you in, but we really don't get that much depth with characters. We get some parts where, like, for example, Zapan, we make sense why Zapan want to go and attack Alita because she embarrassed him. That makes sense. I like that. That's a strong piece there. But we really don't get that much of a, and that's a conclusion of the movie that we get because of what happened. But everything else that happened around it, like when Alita confronts Hugo about what he did, doesn't hit as much because it's so much happened in this movie. That's literally probably my biggest thing with this movie. Just too much going on. They should have slowed it down and made it just broke it down some more movies. Like, slowed it down, broke it into more movies, and don't worry about creating a sequel. Worry about focusing on the main piece here, and then you can add on much later. So the budget for this movie was $170 million estimated, and it grossed worldwide $404 million plus. So they got their money back on this. The director, as I say, was Robert Rodriguez, and the writers, James Cameron, he read it, and he also produced this movie. So good for them. Now let's go ahead and get into the cast. Yeah, Rosa Salazar, who played Alita. I thought her voice acting was great, and she actually had some CGI, like the spot work, the camera, not the green screen, what it is, I'm trying to think of, mocap. She had the motion capture sensors on her, and she did a good job making Alita being expressive and like, oh my gosh, and bringing her to life. I think Rosa did a good job on that. Christopher Waltz, who played Dr. Ido, think Christopher Waltz did a good job being Ido. I thought he was solid. Yeah, he was a character who you wanted to get attached to more. And there's actually a scene where he told Alita, you don't need to worry about motorball, stay away from motorball, stay out of it. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, I got this costume for you. I created this costume for you for motorball. And I was like, did he hate motorball? Because motorball was the reason why his daughter got killed, because he was helping those people out, and one of the dudes wanted more drugs, so he killed his daughter. Like, how did he flip so much? Why did he flip so quickly? Like, I need to know more about this. Also, he was a reason why she wanted to start the bar fight, because he wouldn't give her the suit. Like, this is her suit. This is her choice. She's 300 years old. Why you let her take her suit back? Like, there's certain things that I think was fleshed. If it was fleshed out a lot more, and you get more of a backstory versus like he lost his daughter, so we got to feel some empathy. But it would mean much more if we got time to grow, and Alita and Christopher Waltz's character Ido had more time to grow as a father-daughter connection. Jennifer Connelly, who played Sharon, she was there. Like, I feel like her character got more things to work with. If Jennifer got more things to work with, I feel like she'd be a stronger character. But for the most part, she was just there to be like, I'll help out. Mahershala Ali, who played Vector. I think Mahershala Ali, he looked menacing in the movie. He gave that this perception that he was a character not to mess with. But at the same time, I also feel like he wasn't fleshed out well enough to be like, yeah, I care about this villain. No, it was just like, yeah, okay, he just the guy to move more on and be more exposition. Ed Skrein, who played Zapan, I think if he was, I think once again, he had more time, he could have been a stronger character as well, like a more menacing villain, and be the guy who be more the antagonistic character to Alita, who was more cutthroat, who didn't really care about the rules. I think if we had more time, Ed Skrein, who played Ajax in Deadpool, he can be a jerk, and I think he was being that jerk in his character, but I think we could have got a little bit more of that. And then we have Keenan Johnson, who played Hugo. I think Keenan Johnson did fine. I think he played his character very well as Hugo, had been the bad guy, good guy character. Once again, I think the movie could have played more on that. They just literally cut stuff out and very save for the sequel and focus on two or three things in this movie versus focus on 5 different things. I think the Hugo and Alita romance could be more fleshed out. And so that second movie when he actually reveals that I am a bad guy, I did this, they'd be like, oh my gosh, no, why? Versus, I stopped. I went to stop them. Like, what bro, we don't care. Here we go. Jorge Lindenberg Jr., who played Tanji. Tanji was his name. And once again, a character who I think was overlooked. They just had more stopped and focused more on characters. His death and his character would mean a lot more in this movie. Way, way more. And then the other character who was the main bad guy, and that is Ed Norton's character, who is Nova. Edward Norton's character is Nova. So that's the Edward Norton who was playing in the movie, like the dude who's controlling everything. And then one other guy, Jackie Earl Haley, he played Greerwiska. He's another villain in the movie. So that's the cast, and once again, I feel like the movie just focus more on certain pieces versus trying to cram everything into it. Would have done much, much better. Any other thoughts? The music in this movie is solid. I think the music works. It gives that moment like, oh my gosh, yes. But the animation CGI I think is really good. And you know, there's times for me where like it does irk me, but I think if you're watching this for the first time, you'd be like, man, this is, okay, it looks pretty dang good. As far as anime adaptations, because a lot of people did mention, I did listen to some of the reviews, a lot of people mentioned that this is probably one of the best anime adaptation movies there is, and I give it props for that. It didn't seem like a movie that just threw the book out the window. It's like, we don't care about the anime. We'll do whatever we want to do. It's like this movie tried to play more on the anime and add so much stuff in from the anime into the movie that actually hurt it. Not like The Last Airbender, where they just didn't care about like certain concept of the source material. This one, I feel like it did follow the source material from what I could see, but it just threw so much into it. Another thing I feel like they didn't flesh out in this movie was Motorball. Motorball is like a roller skate kind of competition. I didn't understand how people score. I didn't understand the rules of it, and I wish that we would have focused more on that too, versus just tossing you into it and letting you like just experience the showcase of it. Well, I play sports. I want to know what the showcase. I want to know the rules behind the showcase. Just don't throw the showcase to me. I watch wrestling. You know, 1, 2, 3 is the win. Ninja Warrior, hit the buzzer. If you fall, you lose. Like, they didn't thrust out like the rules behind it. They're just like, okay, Alita Battle Angel fights in the Motorball. Give us more. Like slow it down. Take more out of this movie. Add more detail to certain stuff, and then put in the sequel. To be honest, I think if they would have just did like I said, the serial killer situation where somebody's killing off characters and you're thinking it's, you know, the doctor the whole time, and then Battle Angel Alita finds out it's not the doctor. They work together. They resolve the serial killer issue in the first movie, and then the second movie you can work on Motorball and it being the Motorball scenario, and then she becomes a bounty hunter, and then you try to find out that Vector is taking people's body parts so they can build the Motorball thing, and he's using Hugo as a guy to do this, and Hugo's doing it because he wanted to get to the city in the sky in the second movie, and that relationship flutters and maybe falls apart in the second one, and then the third one you can work on introducing, you know, Ed Norton's character Nova, and you actually get to see Nova and fight Nova in the sky, because then she loses her lover in the second movie, versus throwing it all in the first movie, and then the second one we'll get to the sky. Like, let that breathe a little bit. Let it breathe. Let it breathe. Hey, if you're a studio, you can maybe make 5 movies out of this if you really want to get crazy. 4 for sure. But to throw everything together in, like, for example, the last 15 minutes of this movie, like, this movie had a good conclusion where Jennifer Connelly's character saves Hugo and Alita Battle Angel, and they make Hugo a robot, an android. And then all of a sudden, he's like, we get another part where Alita goes fight Victor and fight Gorwiska, and you're like, wait a minute, what? This movie's continuing on? Like, we could have just left it at that. Now, I do want to say that having Alita fight Gorwiska in 3 different parts of the movie, the beginning, middle, and third of the movie, I would say does, or I guess within Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, because beginning, middle, third is not the way this movie plays out, but having Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, having like her face him twice. First time she gets advantage, second time she loses, and the third time she comes out on top, like clean cut. That part works. It just sucks that we actually could have got more of that. Or maybe her beat, what's his name, and then Vector dips out. And that leads to the sequel. I did enjoy this movie, guys. I did enjoy it. Like, it wasn't like I didn't like this movie. No, I enjoyed this movie. It just, they could have done better. They could have done better. But it's not bad. They just could have done better. All right. Is this a Friday night movie? Yeah, you can watch this Friday night movie with your friends and family. I think everybody will be okay with watching this movie. You're going to have people be like follow it as well, but I think you'll be okay watching it. In grading time, I'm going to grade the movie Alita Battle Angel a C. It gets a C for me. And as I stated earlier, I think the acting is great. I think, you know, the world building is solid. The CGI is amazing. Animation is really good. But as far as story and character development, the main gist of the story, I get where it's going, but just a lot going on. The character development is not fleshed out, so certain characters die you don't really care about, and certain characters do things you're like, But as a visual movie, you're gonna like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, beautiful and good to look at, and action sequences. And this movie does have some comedy in it, but it is a predictable movie. If you're a fan of anime, fan of story, cartoons, you know where this is gonna go. You know it's a protagonist, plot, character movie, so stuff's gonna have favor the main character. And that's pretty much it. Like that's my thoughts on it. I just wish they would have. They had 2 hours and they just focus on a few things and then focus on the next movie versus cramming everything all in one movie. We at this point, like we seen the Twilight series, we know you can stretch stuff out. This movie should have stretched stuff out. So that's my thoughts on it. If you guys seen Alita Battle Angel, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Oh, one last thing before I leave. If you watch all the reviews from 2019 when this movie came out, they all give this movie like super strong praise, and all of them like really like. This is a thought of mine, and I kind of want to go back and watch movies that I reviewed the year they came out, because there's a lot of movies that I feel like you just seen it for the first time. You're like, oh my gosh, rose-colored glasses, whether that's good or bad, and then go back and watch it again. You might have a different opinion. Like me seeing Alita Battle Angel 2021 versus watching 2019. 2019 I'm probably more like hype about it. In 2021, because I've seen so much stuff and I know where movies are going and I've done so many reviews at this point that there's like 270 or 260 to 270 something. It does change it a little bit. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Movie Breakdowns. I really appreciate it. See y'all next time and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all and keep being awesome.